Heya Cryptozens. Tonight's show. 3 Arrows Capital liquidated in British Virgin Islands court. BlockFi granted license after $1 million fine. North Korea faces crypto winner. It's 10 p.m. Pacific time. The date is June 29th, 2022. Welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter. My name is Nicodemus, and I'll be your host. The cover model, mascot, and co-host for this podcast is Tex. And together we take a nightly look at the crypto, NFT, and metaverse space and the industry that surrounds it. So take a minute, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast now, because we're here at 10 p.m. each and every night, so that when you leave in the morning, you're taking with you the crypto news analysis that you need to start your day. And keep in mind, nothing in this show should ever be considered financial advice. Well, things have definitely taken a turn for the worse for 3 Arrows Capital. I mean, they were bad before, but now they're worse because 3 Arrows Capital got liquidated. A court in the British Virgin Islands ordered the liquidation on Monday. This comes from a Sky News report released today. Okay, so quick background for anybody hearing about this for the first time. 3 Arrows Capital, or 3AC, is a crypto hedge fund based in Singapore, and they're everywhere. They've been a leading venture capital firm in this space for a while now. And they've been in everything, investing in NFTs, decentralized finance protocols, layer 1 blockchains, and other crypto companies. They were a crypto hedge fund with $3 billion in assets under management. And unfortunately, all of that is not enough to hold off $400 million in liquidations. See, what happened is they failed to meet margin calls from their lenders. The market turned bad. The lenders wanted to see more capital laid out. They borrowed fiat currency and used crypto as collateral. Now, the value of that crypto has gone down compared to the fiat currency that they borrowed. So the investors, they want more crypto as collateral. And that didn't happen. Now, they tried to borrow some money from BlockFi, but that wasn't enough. In these conditions, even that loan couldn't keep them afloat. So they were liquidated across multiple positions. And then there's Voyager. See, 3AC was into Voyager Digital big. 350 million USDC and 15,250 Bitcoin worth of big. So Voyager, of course, issued 3AC with a default notice. They said they are looking for, quote, legal remedies, which is causing Voyager their own problems because they gave 3AC until Friday to pay off $25 million, and then the rest of it was due on Monday. And as we know, they didn't get repaid. So now Voyager is doing their own song and dance. They've disclosed that they have $137 million in cash and crypto as of the 24th of June. And they've got up to $500 million in loans as a fund in arrangement with Alameda Research. So Voyager brought in an investment bank, Moelis & Company, to minimize the damage done by 3AC. But 3AC is still optimistic, or at least they were. Suzu and Kyle Davies were trying to assure their customers that a solution would be found. They brought in legal and financial experts to look for a way out, like asset sales or some other company riding into the rescue, a bailout package. And so it came to pass that a judge in the British Virgin Islands ordered 3AC's liquidation. Partners from the New York-based firm Teneo has been brought in to handle the insolvency. Sky News characterizes the response to the news as, quote, the liquidation would be a significant moment in the current unraveling of the cryptocurrency sector, which has grown at breakneck speed in recent years. Which makes me wonder, how much is really left? I mean, we know BlockFi and others already liquidated the cryptocurrency that they were using for collateral on their loans. Now, Teneo is putting 2 senior managing directors on the case, Russell Crumpler and Christopher Farmer, and they're going to serve as joint executors of the liquidation. Now, reportedly, one of them said, quote, it's going to take a long time to make 3AC's creditors whole. So to that end, and to make things easier, Teneo's going to be putting up a website. The site will allow potential creditors to put in a claim and get more information about what's next. The fact is, this process is probably going to end up taking a very long time to unwind. 3AC was involved in a number of enterprises, and it's going to just get involved. The liquidation order is just a start of that process. At the time of writing, the global crypto market cap is $900.25 billion. It's down 1.22% in 24. The top 5 cryptos by market cap are Bitcoin down 0.44%, Ethereum down 3.69%, Tether, USDC, and Binance Coin down 2.96%. And speaking of BlockFi, they've been all over the news lately. BlockFi liquidated 3AC. BlockFi scored a $250 million credit deal with FTX. BlockFi is raising their interest rates. And on top of that, it looks as if Morgan Creek Digital is looking to get a majority stake in BlockFi. At least according to a leaked investor call, Morgan Creek Digital's managing partner Mark Yusko said he had been making calls all day. See, Morgan Creek Digital is already a shareholder in BlockFi. And the way the deal with FTX is looking, it kind of gives FTX the option to acquire BlockFi pretty much at no cost. If that happens, all previous shareholders and investors, people who had been paid with shares like management and employees alike, they'd all get liquidated. Even so, they knew at the time, Yusko said that there was like a 10% chance of that deal happening. And it looks like the odds were not in their favor. And they need that money. That's why BlockFi was trying to raise cash on a $1 billion valuation. They got almost $5 billion last year. Now they're struggling to get $1 billion. Even after liquidating 3AC, they still need that money. Because in addition to facing the same crypto market conditions that the rest of us are facing, BlockFi has an additional challenge. They were recently hit with a $100 million fine. That's right. Back in February, the SEC and various state regulators assessed $100 million in penalties. $50 million goes to the SEC and $50 million for the states that took part. And you know this hurts. U.S. customers are no longer able to open new interest-yielding accounts. Now, this all came down because the SEC said BlockFi's interest account was a security. At the time, it was offering 9.25% APY. Banks in the U.S. were offering far less, almost nothing. And so, when the fines were handed down, CEO Zach Prince was tweeting to his 60,000 followers when he said, quote, "Where are we headed? We will be starting the registration process with the SEC for BlockFi Yield, a new crypto interest-bearing security." And it looks like they're on their way to doing just that. 2 weeks ago, Iowa fined BlockFi almost $1 million for selling unregistered securities. That's right. Just 2 weeks after being fined for offering and selling unregistered securities, BlockFi announced that they received a money services license from Iowa. This was on June 14th that Iowa fined them for $943,000. Now, what this license does is it lets them receive money and sell payment instruments in Iowa. So that means that Iowans can trade stablecoins on BlockFi as well as transfer funds via ACH. Now, the government said BlockFi had, quote, offered and sold securities in Iowa that were not registered or permitted for sale in Iowa. So this is pretty good news for a company that seems to be sorely needing some good news. On June 14th, that same day that the Iowa fine came down, Prince said that BlockFi would be laying off 20% of their staff just to remain afloat. I think that they're hoping to stay alive just long enough to watch their competition die off. Celsius, they're one of their rivals, or they were anyway. I don't think that they're too long for this world. Nexo, weirdly, they're having issues too, and it's hard to say why. They didn't have any bad money that I know of. No exposure to 3AC, no exposure to Lido staked ETH. I think it's just because they're in the same kind of general industry as BlockFi or Celsius. Now, in the meantime, BlockFi has raised their interest rates. They attribute it to effective risk management, decreasing market competition, and a changing macro yield environment. Others might attribute it to a $250 million credit package. So this money services license in Iowa might be just what BlockFi needs to stay afloat long enough to outlast their competition. The global NFT market cap is up over $12.13 billion. Sales volume is up 0.57% in 24 hours. According to CoinMarketCap, the top 5 NFT collections by sales volume are: in first we have Moonbrothers, Other Deeds second, CryptoPunks is third, fourth is Mutant Apes, and Moonbirds coming in fifth. So we're seeing a number of crypto lending platforms go belly up of late. Celsius is an example, and they're starting to take exchanges down with them. And so what's the problem? Why is this happening? Well, a couple of things immediately present themselves as possible culprits. Undisclosed, opaque rehypothecation of investor funds is one of them. Really, it compromises the integrity of those funds as investments. And that could just be a whole show on its own, because that's another issue. But I'm not sure if you've noticed, crypto prices change a lot. When that happens, if you have a lot of wealth stored in crypto, and if the price of crypto goes up compared to your local fiat currency, well, that's great. I live in the United States. When the price of crypto goes up against the US dollar, well, that's great for me. On the other hand, price doesn't always go up. Sometimes price goes down, which can make things complicated to say the least, because the value of what you had goes down, which is bad enough. But the value of what you had as collateral goes down, which is really bad. So what a lot of people do is they get their wealth out of crypto and somewhere nice and safe, like in stablecoins. And for most people, that's not a huge issue. But then again, most people aren't rogue state actors and known sponsors of terror, pillaging and thieving to fund an illegal weapons program. Not most people I know, anyway. North Korea is, though. The People's Republic of North Korea, they've got an issue because they've been putting a lot of resources into stealing cryptocurrency over the last few years. Back on February 7th, we talked about it on this show. The U.S. government says that the PRK is funding their nuclear weapons program from stolen and scammed crypto. And now the crypto winter taking hold over the markets, threatening just that. The Korea Institute for Defense Analysis in Seoul, South Korea, estimates that North Korea could be spending as much as $620 million on nuclear testing, which isn't a lot of money for the United States, but is a lot of money for a tiny, poor nation living under sanctions during a huge economic downturn. That's a whole lot of money. Remember the Axie Infinity Ronin Bridge hack? This was just last March, right? I mean, I know it's forever ago in crypto space, but in the real world, it wasn't that long ago. So back in March, the North Korean hacker group Lazarus hacked about $615 million. Here's the problem. Crypto isn't worth as much fiat as it used to be. And so that has a couple of effects. One, there's less liquidity in the market to cash out with, at least if you want to make sure that you protect the market so that it's around the next time you need to cash out. And two, the value is just a lot less. That $615 million Axie hack is only worth about $230 million today. Chainalysis is a New York-based blockchain analysis firm, and they've been keeping track of all the old hacks and unlaundered crypto stashes that North Korea is holding on to. 49 of them. 49 hacks in the period between 2017 and 2021. And in that 4 years, they stole an estimated $170 million in crypto. That's what it was worth. Now it's worth around $65 million, according to Reuters. One haul from 2021, it had been worth tens of millions of dollars. Well, that's plunged in today's market by 85%. Now it's worth less than $10 million. Now, the North Koreans, of course, they're not being honest about any of this. Reuters called their embassy. Apparently, they did get someone on the phone. That person would only identify themselves as an embassy diplomat. And they would only say, "We didn't do anything." They're claiming any cryptocurrency hacks attributed to them are fake news. And that's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I'll stop talking. You stay safe out there. Watch out for yourselves, but watch out for each other too. We'll see you tomorrow night.